Sixth race of the season for the second season of the Duracell Cup Series comes to you live under the lights here tonight from the world's fastest half mile, the last great Coliseum. Doesn't matter what you call it, it's certainly a great place for a race. We are here in Thunder Valley at the Bristol Motor Speedway for tonight's running of the Food City 500. Now, certainly hoping that this race is going to be a lot better than last year's race was. Last year's race, we spent about the first half of the race with only 3 drivers basically in contention for the race lead. Trey Wright, Wyatt Quayle, and the eventual winner, Kyle Matthews. Now, all 3 winners would go on to finish out the season with a trip to victory lane. But to be honest, it was kind of a boring Bristol race. Hopefully here tonight, we will be able to have an actual really good Bristol race, and there was a big chance that Bristol wasn't even going to come back on the schedule this season. It almost got replaced, but found a version where there was actually good racing in a testing session, and so it redeemed itself, and it is still on the schedule. On the front row, boy, this is an interesting front row. I know that not much has happened in the last couple of weeks, but I go all the way back thinking to the Daytona Speed Weeks, Gatorade Duel number 1. When the pole sitter Zach Rogers and outside the front row Matthew Rodriguez got into it, we had a little bit of a tussle with the two of them with some contact in the tri-oval, and then after the race was over, Matthew Rodriguez ran in the back of Zach Rogers. You gotta wonder if maybe that's in the back of their minds as they'll roll off side by side at the front of the field to get tonight's race underway. Coming into this race, we've got ourselves a pretty good points battle as well. We'll document that when we get the command to fire up the engines. It'll be 75 laps of racing here tonight at Bristol. I'm expecting we're going to have some pretty good passing all the way through the field. Maybe not necessarily at the front, but one thing that tracks like this, especially half-mile tracks, have come into play are drivers on the tail end of the lead lap that are up to speed, holding up the leaders. That's when you're really going to have a battle for the race lead and maybe eventually for the win. Let's go down trackside, get those famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
On the right side of your screen is the starting lineup for tonight's race here at Bristol, and we're going to give you your top 10 in the points coming into tonight's race. So the points leader is still Ryan Acosta. I didn't think he was going to keep the points lead after his finish last week, but he did. He has a 5-point advantage over Benjamin Miles, who finished second in this race 1 year ago. William Brock jumped up to third, Jordan Lopez in fourth, Mitchell Collins currently in fifth. There are 17 points separating the top 5 in the standings coming to this race. Seth Cole is 6th, Carson Gum now in 7th. And then the 3 drivers, 1, 2, 3 finished last week for Retro Racing Enterprises, or for S3 Motorsports I should say. Jessica Shelton's 8th, Charles Sanford 9th, and the eventual winner last week at Phoenix, or ISM, Kyle Matthews, is 10th. Green flags in the air, the Food City 500 is underway, let's roll! Take the opportunity real quickly here to tell you about our onboard cameras here tonight. Zach Rogers, the pole sitter, he's the Dodge driver with the MSI onboard camera. Toyota driver Johnny Gardner has the Hunt Brothers Pizza onboard. Benjamin Miles, who I mentioned, finished runner-up here 1 year ago and is second in the points coming to this race. He is the Chevy driver with the Hertz onboard camera. Chris Dollerton, defending champion, is the Ford driver with the Starbucks onboard. And Kyle Matthews, the defending winner of this race and the driver who went to victory lane last week at ISM, is carrying our onboard camera here this evening. See, they've gotten themselves single file up here towards the front. At least the top 5 had. Battle is on for 6th between Matt Haas in the 8 and Marcus Sacchi in the 21. Jose Mills right there in the 98 and Benjamin Miles there in the 33. Miles seems to love Bristol because he qualified up inside the top 10 for this race, and we already mentioned he was the runner-up finisher to Kyle Matthews 1 year ago. Seth Cole back there trying to get back into racing form. The Blame Shelley Insurance number 72, also Game of Thrones sponsoring his race car here. And if we end up having a typical Bristol race with drivers beating and banging like they normally do at short tracks, a lot of drivers are going to have to call in claims to Blame Shelley Insurance here this evening. As Jessica Shelton way up the track, they're going to lose a spot to Ryan Butcher. I believe that is a pass for 11th for the 78 car. Move up closer to the front. We got a battle here. This is for 3rd place. Mitchell Collins with a rear deck lid full of Austin LaPlante and Cody Lamas. We had a practice session here yesterday, and Cody Lamas was 2nd fastest in practice session. so no surprise to see him up towards the front as he's going to now battle for the 4th position with LaPlante, the inverted numbers, 48-84. Both of these drivers suffered DNFs last week at ISM, as I recall. And Jose Mills right there behind them. 30th in the points coming to this race is Jose, 4-time winner last season. Still looking, I believe he's still looking for, no, he already does have a top 5. My apologies. He only got one, though. One top 5 so far this season. Definitely a far cry from where he was 1 year ago. That is for certain, as he's now going to try and take 4th place from Cody Lamas, and he succeeds in doing so. Back up towards the front there, Zach Rogers has opened up almost a second lead back to Matthew Rodriguez. That time he gained about another 5/100ths on the 57. Mitchell Collins seems to be pretty comfortable in the 3rd position right now, with Jose Mills and Cody Lamas right now completing your top 5. Drop a little bit further back here. Jessica Shelton, battle here for 10th with Seth Cole. Matt McIntyre right there, and there's Casey Nanico in the 77. Right now he is in the 13th position, and that's a driver that certainly could use a good run, as in the first 5 starts of the season, he is dead last in points with an average finish of just about 32nd. So he really needs to turn his season around. He needs to turn it around very quickly. See Marcus Sacchi up here, now battling with Austin LaPlante. That is for 6th place, while Marcus Sacchi comes into this race as the current rookie points leader by 2 points over Cody Lamas, who is just up ahead there. Now, the way that the rookie point system works out, the person that finishes the highest of the rookies gets 10 points, second highest rookie gets 9 points, so it's all inverted by 1 point. As things stand right now, Cody Lamas would gain a point on Marcus Sacchi, so Sacchi right now would have the rookie points lead by only 1 point over the 84. I want to drop back here, try and find one specific driver. And he is quite a ways back here. There he is, Johnny Gardner in the 14. I think the caution actually might be out. So we'll get to that in a moment. Yes, caution is out for the first time here tonight. And it comes out on lap 15. So everybody's going to get bunched back up. Probably the last driver that wanted to see that was Zach Rogers in the 6. And oh boy, careful. This is one issue we had last season with drivers that got lapped and then had to get their way back onto the tail end of the lead lap, having issues getting around the race leaders. Hopefully they do get it figured out and we don't have a stupid scoring error like we did last season. The car I saw with damage looked like was the 9 of Ryan Brommer, Zach Rogers' teammate. So it looks like he is the reason for the caution coming out here. And we're just going to hope that these guys are able to get themselves settled out. Looks like Kyle Matthews trying to get around Zach Rogers, last week's winner, Kyle Matthews, in that Cincinnati Reds paint scheme. Looks like they're going to go around the outside here. Michael Norman looks like he got some damage as well out of that. And there you see the crunched up number 9 there, 3rd in that line of Ryan Brommer. So we will see what happened to him to bring out the caution for the first time here tonight at Bristol Motor Speedway. This was at the very rear end of the field too. Lucky this didn't happen a couple laps later, because you could see Zach Rogers was just about to catch the tail end of the field. And I think that these drivers felt a sense of urgency knowing that Zach Rogers was almost on the same straightaway as them. Michael Norman turns down to the corner and he gets Ryan Brommer in the right rear quarter panel. That sends Brommer up into the wall, and watch right here, you're going to see coming on the bottom left of your screen, yep, there's the race leader, Zach Rogers, coming into view. So that was a close one. We nearly could have had some of our race leaders swept up into that, as the first caution of the evening involves Michael Norman and Ryan Brommer. I think we'll get the 1 to green signal this next time by. We're going to have to wait and see, though, as the field now enters into turn 3. Zach Rogers, the race leader, over Matthew Rodriguez. Ryan Brommer stayed out. He did not come to pit road, but he is a lap down because he saw Zach Rogers bypassed him before coming around to receive the caution. So Ryan Brommer, damaged, is going to be on the inside line for this restart. Jose Mills will restart in 3rd with Lamas and LaPlante completing the top 5. Then it's Marcus Sacchi, Matt Haas, Ryan Butcher, Benjamin Miles, and Jessica Shelton. I want to double check. They do have Kyle Matthews listed 1 lap down. I thought he went around and got his lap back, but he must have had an extended stay on pit road, maybe to repair damage. And you can see he is coming up on that inside line. So not the run right now that last week's winner and the defending winner of this race, Kyle Matthews, wanted to have. But it's still early, and he maybe could race his way around Zach Rogers, get himself back on the tail lead lap, maybe catch a quick caution. It's a tough break there for that Cincinnati Reds. I believe it's 150th anniversary commemorative car that he is driving here this evening. Green flag set to come back out here on lap 22 of 75, and we're back underway here at Bristol. Everybody wound back up here, all lined back up with the aid of that yellow flag, and looks like Zach Rogers going to get away from Matthew Rodriguez yet again. Zach Rogers was a 2-time winner last season. His wins came at... I know one of them was Pikes Peak. I'm trying to remember where the other one was. The other one was at Texas. So he's trying to get his 3rd career Duracell Cup Series victory. And it would be his first of the season. Zach Rogers coming into this race 26th in the point standing, so he could certainly use, if not a win, definitely a good performance here today to be able to propel himself back up there in the point standings. Matthew Rodriguez right behind him. Matt Rod was a winner last season when he took the checkered flag at, I believe it was Arizona Speedway. Yes, it was. That was during the playoffs, though, so that win did not count towards a playoff spot. He's 17th in the points coming into this one. And he's now going to lose the 2nd position, looks like, to the 98 of Jose Mills, that Louisiana hot sauce Ford Mustang. Pretty well wound up here for this run. And he will move into the runner-up spot. So now we'll see if he can close up any distance between himself and the race leader, Zach Rogers. Something I found interesting was these drivers did not come to pit road under that caution. So something tells me that they might be good to go the full 75 laps on 1 tank of fuel. I mean, you really only use throttle input on these small straightaways. For the most part, you coasted through the corners, so not a whole lot of fuel consumption taking place here. But then again, maybe that caution didn't come out soon enough for them to be in their window to make it the rest of the way as well. So there is the possibility we could still see green flag pit stops, but I'm not really certain, being a short track as it is. I don't know if that's necessarily going to come into play. Now, Zach Rogers got the pole position, but he definitely not only had qualifying speed, he's got some pretty good race speed as well, because I mentioned that Johnny Gardner was the fastest in the practice session. Cody Lamas was 2nd fastest. He's up in 4th, and Zach Rogers, he was 4th fastest. So he definitely not only had that car trimmed out for qualifying, but he also has a very good race car in terms of race conditions. But now he's got a challenge. First time he's really had a challenge all night. As we're nearing the halfway point, Jose Mills all over his back bumper. How about the rookie Casey Nanico right now up there behind fellow rookie Marcus Sachi? You've actually got 3 rookies up inside the top 10. Lamas in 4th, Sachi in 6th, and right now Casey Nanico in 7th as they're trying to make their way around the damaged machine of Ryan Brommer, who is off the lead lap. Matt Haas in the 8th position trying to get around him, and got a good battle back here for 9th. Benjamin Miles, Ryan Butcher, they're in 9th and 10th. Got Jessica Shelton, Seth Cole, Sebastian Kukalan all up in this mix as well. Benjamin Miles running right now in that 10th position, and the driver that he is trying to take the points lead away from right now, nowhere to be seen. Ryan Acosta in the 10. Let's see where the auto owner's Toyota currently is at. And there he is. He's all the way back here. Last time by scored in the 32nd position. We mentioned the fact that last year it really came down between 3 drivers, especially early on in the race, that looked like they were the favorites to win. Kyle Matthews, Trey Wright, and Wyatt Quayle. Well, right now, Kyle Matthews is trapped a lap down. Trey Wright right there, he's in the 35th position, and Wyatt Quayle is right now in 38th, trying to take away, I believe, the 38th position from Vince Almriego, not the run that he was looking for here this evening. And they are getting closed up on very quickly by the race leaders, Zach Rogers and Jose Mills. Like I said, if we get into a long green flag run, the best battling for the lead is going to take place when they encounter the traffic of drivers on the tail end of the lead lap, because those drivers they catch, unless they got involved in a wreck, they are going to be up to speed, and they are going to be very difficult for these race leaders to get around. You got to wonder if Jose Mills is going to use any of those cars as a pick. This will probably help to bring Matthew Rodriguez, maybe Cody Lamas back into the picture as well. Good runs for both those cars out of Michael Norman Motorsports. Their other teammate, Matt McIntyre, was not too far back on the last run. He's now, since then, faded back to the 16th spot, but still a pretty good run for him. And there is Chris Dollerton with our Starbucks onboard camera. And the defending champion coming into this race has not in any way looked like the same kind of a driver as he was 1 year ago. He comes into this race currently 38th in points, but don't despair. Remember, Chris Dollerton never really put himself forward as a championship contender until we got to the last race before the All-Star break at Fuel Motorsports Park when he took the checkered flag there. After that, in the second half of the regular season was when all of his good finishes started to happen. So for those that are starting to worry about that kind of curse of winning a championship and then going into a slump the following season, let's just remember he was in a slump at the start of last year as well. Cole Baker right now in that 14th position, and this is definitely a run that he needs. He ended up last week finishing well at ISM also when he was outside the top 30 in points. With his good run, he jumped up 10 spots in the standings. He now comes into this race 23rd in points. Our Daytona 500 winner, just trying to make sure he stays in the top 30 in the standings to have that win count towards a playoff position. As Zach Rogers, Jose Mills, they've begun to make their way around drivers on the tail end of the lead lap. They've now put Vince Almriego and our Las Vegas winner Wyatt Quayle down a lap. Now closing in on the 18 of Michael Norman. Well, you wonder if Michael Norman's going to put up a fight, because if he can hold them up, that might allow his teammates Matthew Rodriguez and Cody Lamas in 3rd and 4th to catch up. Look at this. It's like a wall right now as you've got Trey Wright side by side with Adam Garcia, Michael Norman side by side with Mitchell Collins, and we're having a battle for the race lead here. Jose Mills to the inside of Zach Rogers, and he will take the spot. Right now, Jose Mills, the winningest driver in the Duracell Cup Series with 4 total victories, all of them coming last season. William Brock has 3, Jordan Lopez has 3, and then you got Zach Rogers with 2, you've got Wyatt Quayle with 2, Trey Wright has 2. Jose Mills gonna put Michael Norman down a lap, and now he has a lap machine between himself and Zach Rogers as he's trying to pull away. Wow, Michael Norman, did you see that? He almost got into the back of the race leader. Michael does not want to go a lap down. He wants to get himself back on the lead lap, and look at Jose Mills. Ooh, that was close. Looked like he tried to go up the middle between Ryan Acosta and Trey Wright, and that might come back to haunt him. Zach Rogers is trapped on the outside line right now. Cody Lamas just got by his teammate Matthew Rodriguez for 3rd. And now he's trying to get up there. Right now in the tire tracks of fellow Toyota Camry Wyatt Quayle is back up to the front. Zach Rogers thought he was going to stay low behind Mitchell Collins, but now he jumps back up to the top side. Jose Mills having difficulty. He's boxed in. He's got Norman to his left, Acosta in front of him. There's nowhere he can really go. And that inside line is open, and Zach Rogers is not taking it, and that might come back to haunt him, because here comes Cody Lamas in the 84. He's going to get to the inside of Wyatt Quayle, and we might have a battle for 2nd on our hands. Looks like Jose Mills did finally get the outside line to work, and he got around Michael Norman to keep him off the lead lap. Battle will be for 2nd place now, as Cody Lamas and Zach Rogers will have at it. Now Mills goes to the inside of Ryan Acosta. There's Matthew Rodriguez up here trying to make it a 3-man fight for that 2nd position. And Casey Nanico now side by side with Austin LaPlante. That's a battle for the 5th position. Very, very impressed with the rookies so far in this race. 3 of our 6 rookies up inside of this top 10. Another of them right there, that 21 of Marcus Sacchi. Move back up here, see if anything's developed for the race lead. Jose Mills just got around Ryan Acosta, put him a lap down. Now he'll go to work on Benny Watson in the 75. Thought we'd see a lot more out of Benny here tonight. He's also been having a very struggling start to the year, as currently comes into this race situated down in the, if I can find him, in the 24th position in points. He had a top 5 run here 1 year ago when he finished 5th. As a matter of fact, not too far up ahead of the race leader Jose Mills is Jesse Turner, and there was some contact there between teammates. Jose Mills literally moved his teammate Trey Wright out of the way. But there is Jesse Turner. He finished 3rd here last year. And right now he's mired back in the 28th position with a couple of other Ford Mustangs. That's Levi McIntyre, the Amazon Prime number 99 ahead of him, and Jordan Lopez there in the 38. That's another teammate for Jose Mills that he's about to encounter too as well. Cody Lamas has made his way to 2nd. Zach Rogers just dropped from 2nd back to 4th as both Lamas and Matthew Rodriguez got around him. But they've got traffic to deal with before they can get up there to Jose Mills. They've got to bypass both Michael Norman, Ryan Acosta, and Trey Wright. And time's running out. 20 laps to go here. Last thing that Jose Mills needs to happen right now is for them to start getting double wide ahead of him, get wadded up, and stick him on the outside line, because that will help Cody Lamas. Look at that. Little contact, little bump. Jose Mills says, hey, teammate, I realize that you're trying to battle some drivers for position, but I also want to keep my race lead. Can you kind of cut me a break here? He's now going to go to the outside line. Not sure that was smart, because you got the damaged car of Ryan Brommer up there. And oh boy, that move could come back to haunt him, as now that inside line is getting lined up. Trey Wright on the bottom, Ryan Acosta's on the bottom, and here comes Cody Lamas. You see Michael Norman, he says, go to it, teammate, moves out of the way, lets Cody Lamas get up there. Can Cody get up to Jose Mills quickly before that inside line has an opening for Mills to come back down? As this is going on, Matthew Rodriguez got kicked to the high side by Mitchell Collins. That opens up the door down low for a battle for 3rd. Zach Rogers, will he take it? Don't know. Here's the battle for the lead. Cody Lamas, contact between himself and Jose Mills. And he will literally shove his way to the race lead. And now crossover. Here comes Jose Mills back for the top spot. I mentioned at the start of the season that I expected that 1 or 2 of our 6 rookies was going to find their way to victory lane here this season. Cody Lamas, looking like right now he is a prime contender for that. Zach Rogers did manage to move back into 3rd place. As a matter of fact, we got a good battle here for 3rd, as Casey Nanico now enters the fray. He's going to now battle side by side for 4th with Matthew Rodriguez, and Austin LaPlante right there behind them in 6th, waiting to see what happens. Ryan Butcher up there in 7th, a well-needed run for the 78 car, 27th in points coming in this race. Marcus Sacchi right now in 8th spot. Right now, 9th place would be Benjamin Miles, and right now in 10th is William Brock. Remember I mentioned Chris Dollerton? Well, he's now fought his way up to the 11th position, so a great run for him. Cole Baker's in 12th, Matt Haas in 13th, 14th under contest. Sebastian Kukulon, Derek Campbell, a couple of rookies, and you got Charles Sanford, last week's runner-up. He is in the 16th position. Back up towards the front. Let's see if anything is developed. Well, Cody Lamas had a little bit of difficulty getting around Ryan Acosta there. And Jose Mills has been able to open up a little bit of a gap for the race lead for the moment. Zach Rogers, pole sitter. Ooh, little contact there between himself and Casey Nanico, and that got Nanico really squirrely. He almost went up into Mitchell Collins, and that opens up the door for Matthew Rodriguez, who literally puts his foot in there. Cody Lamas trying to run down Jose Mills, who just lapped his teammate Trey Wright again. So that's another car for Cody Lamas to have to deal with. 1.2 second separation last time by. Lamas cut it down by 0.2 that time. But he's also running out of time, as next time around it will be 9 laps to go for the race leader Jose Mills, who again is having some difficulty with a couple of fellow Mustangs, including his teammate. Caution! Caution, flag is out. With 9 laps remaining, the yellow flag waves. That's a big break for Jordan Lopez and Jesse Turner and others, who are going to stay on the lead lap. But that is going to also be interesting, because all these lap down cars will line up single file with the lead lap cars when we go back green, which means you'll have Mills, lap car, Lamas, lap car, and then Rogers. Pace car picks up Jose Mills. Looks like we had an incident on the front stretch. Trying to see if anyone's damaged. Oh, Well, I don't know if this was from a stack up under pacing or not, but Matt Haas has a lot of damage on the rear of his race car. Sebastian Kukulon damaged on the front of his DC Solar Chevrolet. Charles Sanford's also got some damage, so that might have been where it started. And if it started with Sanford, it was just up inside the top 15, around 13th, 14th position. Got some damage there on the lap car of Ryan Acosta as well. We'll find out how many laps are going to be left to finish out this race. We're in for a heck of a restart here, which will be with less than 10 laps to go. This was a battle for, I believe, the 14th position. Sebastian Kukulon on the inside of Matt Haas, and Charles Sanford looked like he tried to split the middle. And we saw this very similar thing happen between Michael Norman and Ryan Brommer for our first caution. And a little contact there as well for James Qualls. Carter Friesen has to come to a stop. I didn't see any contact for the 8 of Matt Haas, but it's like that car just shot up into the wall. Not really sure what happened to him. Matt McIntyre, Jack Mitchell, Johnny Gardner all take evasive action as they jump up to the outside line. Let's take another camera angle of this. And the reason I want to look again is because I didn't see any contact with the 8 of Matt Haas. Maybe he gets clipped in the left rear and I just didn't see it. Right, there's the contact between Sanford and Kukulon. Oh, yeah, he just barely got clipped. Just barely got clipped in the left rear. And as Charles Sanford comes down, you can see he gets sideswiped there by James Qualls. And there was contact as well for Carter Friesen as he got into the back of the 03. So about a 5-car incident right there. I'm going to assume that the damage on the back of Ryan Acosta was due to some stack-up, but I don't know necessarily who got into the back of him. But that is what brings out the caution here in the closing stages of this race and sets us up for a restart, which could be with about 5 laps remaining in tonight's race at Bristol. The lights are still on the pace car, but I believe they'll go out this time. If they do, we'll be at 1 to green and we'll be restarting this race with 4 laps to go. Now, Jose Mills has maybe the best scenario he possibly could have. He's not only got a lap car between himself and Cody Lamas, but that lap car is also a teammate, the 28 of Trey Wright, who already has a win this season at Manassas. So you got to think that Trey Wright might be able to play some defense here against the other lead lap cars and help his teammate Jose Mills get his first win of the season and 5th win of his Duracell Cup Series career. The way they'll line up for this restart, it's Mills the leader. Then you've got Cody Lamas in 2nd, Zach Rogers 3rd, Matthew Rodriguez in 4th, Casey Nanico in 5th, LaPlante in 6th, Ryan Butcher is 7th, Marcus Sacchi in 8th. 9th place right now is William Brock and Chris Dalwerton currently in 10th. Then it's Cole Baker 11th, 12th Benjamin Miles, 13th Derek Hamill, 14th Dylan Young, 15th Jessica Shelton, 16th Alexander Rose, 17th James Qualls, 18th Charles Sanford, 19th is Carter Friesen, and completing your top 20 is Matt McIntyre. Up to this point, we haven't had anybody out of the race. I don't know if we do now or not. Nope, everybody is still running as 30 cars on the lead lap. Green flag back in the air. 4 laps to go here at Bristol, and Jose Mills got himself a good jump. Cody Lamas needs to make very quick work of Trey Wright if he's even going to have a ghost of a shot to challenge Jose Mills for the race lead, and he hasn't even yet really gotten to Trey Wright's back bumper. Meanwhile, Austin LaPlante trying to make some moves here. That is a battle with Casey Nanico for the 5th position. Ryan Butcher right there as well. He'll jump to the high side to help his AJR teammate. As Lamas still stuck behind the 28 of Trey Wright and over a second lead now, 1.2 seconds back from 1st to 2nd place with 1.5 laps remaining. Jose Mills, so far in this season, 30th in the point standings. Only 1 top 5 to his name. He's looking for another. Some drivers had to hit pit road. Jessica Shelton and Sebastian Kukulon pitting here on the final lap as Jose Mills just a couple corners away from an unprecedented 5th career win and first of the season. It'll be Blue Oval Automotive's 2nd win on the year, and Jose Mills takes the checkers in the Food City 500 at Bristol. And these drivers might have been very close on fuel because a couple of drivers did have to hit pit lane there in the closing stages. One of them was Sebastian Kukulon, who I'm assuming he came to pit road solely to get out of the way of this battle for the win, since he was off the pace and definitely damaged. But I'm curious about Jessica Shelton, who finished second last week at ISM, jumped up into the top 10 in points. She had to come to pit road, and that forfeited a really good finishing position for her. I don't know if anybody else had to pit late as well that was up on the lead lap. Possibly Matt Haas, but I don't really think so. I think Shelton was the only one that couldn't make it on fuel and had to pit there in the closing stages, because I don't really see anybody else that finished way back off the lap, in a lap down position that was on the lead lap at the time we went back green. But the standings are official. It is Jose Mills with the victory. A big win for him. He becomes our 6th different race winner on the season. And that is, as I mentioned, his league-leading career 5th win in the Duracell Cup Series. Cody Lamas, so close, will bring it home in 2nd. But a great run there for that rookie, as he will more than likely, I think he just tied up the rookie point standings between himself and Marcus Sachi, because Casey Nanico finished up between the two of them in 5th. So that is 2 points that Cody Lamas gained on Sachi. Zach Rogers started on the pole, ran up in the top 5 all night long. Lap traffic was not his friend, as he will finish the day out in 3rd. Matthew Rodriguez going to bring it home in 4th. So our front row drivers proving that track position at Bristol very important, as they started 1st and 2nd and finished 3rd and 4th. Casey Nanico, great run there for that driver in 5th. Came into this race dead last in points. Nice to see him have a good run. Austin LaPlante brings it home with 6th. That was a great run for him after his DNF at ISM last week. And how about Ryan Butcher? Great run for both of the Auto Junction racing cars. The 77 in 5th, and Ryan Butcher there in 7th. Ryan Butcher, another driver who was struggling in points and needed a good run. Marcus Sachi brings it home with a great run in 8th. So we had 3 of our rookies finish in the top 10. Chris Dollerton, maybe they finally have started putting the pieces together to try and get him back into victory lane, as he'll finish in 9th. And Cole Baker, 2nd straight week that he's had a good run. Our Daytona 500 winner, definitely now giving himself a nice cushion down to 30th in points to make sure that Daytona 500 win counts towards a playoff spot. How about our rookies in general here tonight? We mentioned 3 of them in the top 10. You've got another one down there in 11th, Derek Hamill, and Alexander Rowe right there in 13th as well. So 5 of our 6 rookies finished up inside the top 20 at one of the toughest tracks to learn when you're a rookie as well. So very good performance by a number of our drivers with that yellow stripe on the rear bumper. Dylan Young brings it home in this 12th position. He finished with a great run last week at ISM, up to 11th in points coming into this race. This will definitely help him crack the top 10. James Quall started out the season with a bit of struggles as well. Nice to see him have a good run after the hardships he had last week at ISM. So he'll finish the day out in 14th. And William Brock brings it home in the 15th position. Driver that came into this race 12 points out of the points lead, 3rd in the standings. He finishes just ahead of Benjamin Miles, so he will not take the points lead over. I believe that will be Benjamin Miles who will take the points lead over, but William Brock will certainly have it be very close between himself and Miles heading into next week. Carter Friesen will finish 17th. Charles Samper, who was involved in our last caution, he finishes 18th, with Jack Mitchell and Johnny Gardner completing your top 20. Look on down through the remainder of the finishing results. You had a total of 27 cars finish on the lead lap. Lopez and Turner very lucky that they had the caution come out when it did. That kept them on the lead lap. But you had all these drivers that finished a lap down. Trey Wright, Michael Norman, Mitchell Collins. Points leader coming into this race, Ryan Acosta. He will not be leaving this race. Wyatt Quayle, Adam Garcia, Kyle Matthews, who won this race 1 year ago and came in the defending winner from last week. Tough break for him. Benny Watson, boy, that team, they continue to struggle as he finishes 35th. Vince Almriego, 36th. Jessica Shelton, we mentioned, was on the lead lap. It had to pit on the final lap. That dropped her all the way down to 37th in the results. Matt Haas finishes 2 laps down in 38th. Sebastian Kukel on 3 laps down in 39th. And Ryan Brommer, I didn't realize that he had actually taken his car back behind the wall, as he sustained quite a bit of damage from our first caution of the evening. He'll finish in the 40th position. That's going to do it here tonight, though, from Bristol Motor Speedway. Jose Mills, first win of the 2nd season of Duracell Cup Series, but 5th win of his overall Duracell Cup Series career. And did he just clinch himself a spot into his 2nd straight chase for the championship here in the Duracell Cup Series playoffs? Only time will tell. Thank you all for tuning in to tonight's race from Bristol, though. That was actually a really good race, a lot better than last year. very glad that we were able to find a version that actually had legitimate good racing, and we're able to have this still remain on the schedule in Season 2. If you enjoyed this race, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We have shown you your full finish results, and these are your point standings heading into next week. This was our first short track stop of the season. Next week, we go to our first dirt track stop of the season, as we will be at the Springfield Mile. We are guaranteed a brand new winner at that track, as well as the defending winner Dylan Poteet is not in this season's roster. And then we go to our first road course stop of the season the following week, which will be in wine country at Sonoma. William Brock, the defending winner of that race. But we will see you guys next week at Springfield, as you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA, all flying racing at its best.